I'm so excited to be here. I just found out that I did come to Utah because I've been having this issue since I got here. I'm like, is this, because I visited Denver once before and I'm like, I believe I came to Utah before, but I kept saying it's Denver. So yes, I did come here and I'm glad to be back. So thank y'all for having me. I want to thank this is the community college stuff, so what is it called? Who do I thank? The Pride Center at the school? Well, thank y'all, Pride Center. Thank y'all so much. Liz and some of the other people who were involved, the organizers, y'all for coming and for coming in this room and hearing me talk. I'm not like the best keynote speaker because that's not my thing. So I usually just come up here and I just say what's on my heart, what's on my mind. I'm just really excited because I think we're gonna be in like a political shift, and so I've just been really, before then I was urging people to vote, and so now I'm really glad to see that there are gonna be some changes because usually my keynotes have been really depressing and very sad and very angry, but I feel like that there's gonna be a shift. And so I'm really excited to be a part of a revolution, and not just a gender revolution, but the revolution of like our existence, and to be who we need to be, who we are, and to just be as brave as we need to be for the people around us, for our communities, for our families, for our workplaces and our schools. It's important for us to be able to live our full, authentic lives. And so I don't think there's no better place than to start here at GendeRevolution and just really see yourselves as leaders and organizers and mentors, because that's the steps that we need to start taking now so that we can leave a place. You know, I've been wanting children, and like one of the things that have been really frightening for me about having children is the environment and the world that we live in, and just seeing and the way that I've grown up and the things that I've been through, and like I wouldn't want my child, regardless of their gender or anything, to feel like they cannot exist in a world that was made for us to thrive in. And so I'm just really, really excited to just be a part of this shift, to be a part of something bigger than me, that's bigger than us. And so again, thank y'all for bringing me here and for letting me share this time here with y'all. As y'all heard, Free CeCe was released, but now it's available for home consumption. So if you have Google Play, iTunes, it's on YouTube, it's on Vimeo, so that you can access it and watch it. I would encourage it, not just because it's my film, but I will encourage people to watch this film and other films about the lives of Black and brown trans women in this country, and realizing the strides and troubles that we're facing day to day. I mean, it's taxing to be trans and not conforming. But when you are a person of color, things become a little bit more difficult in society. And so, working with friends, trans women who have been affected by deportation, Muslim trans women, just so many people who have been affected, I think it's time that we need to start thinking about those people too. The ways in which our lives are intersectioned into other parts that we wouldn't necessarily think trans people would be a part of. So I think it's really important that we take a step back. I even seen it in a book, which really surprised me, is something that I talk about a lot, and that is interrogating your privilege. Like, how are you day to day living your life, utilizing your privilege to center the voices of the most marginalized, right? As a Black trans woman, that's pretty hard for me, you know, because I would think that, oh, I have it so hard, and then I meet other women who, you know, are dealing with the same things or things that could possibly be more detrimental to their existence. I know a trans woman, a trans Latinx woman who was facing deportation, and I was talking to her and she was like, you know, I'm just really scared that I'll get killed going back to Mexico. And that really sat on me because you know, that's something that I fear too on my day-to-day life. It's like, you know, when I wake up, well, who's gonna attack me, or who's gonna feel some type of way about my gender, or who's gonna feel some type of way about me being black? As y'all heard, I was involved with an incident that involved both of those things. And so it's really, really scary for some of us on a day-to-day basis, which is why I have to be brave, which is why I have to show people who I am and to, you know, lift up other people up so that they can feel the same way that I feel, even in fear, even in the state of being afraid, even in the state of violence and rejection, that we can live our lives and that we can be the people that we need to be. Because it was really hard for me to be that type of person. So even I had to step back as a black trans woman and interrogate the isms that I had, right? I had to realize the ways in which I was transphobic. I had to realize the ways in which I was anti-black. I had to realize the ways in which I was classist. And I'm poor as fuck, you know what I'm saying? So how can I be classist, right? But there are times where, you know, I will criticize somebody, or I will say certain things that I had to realize was rude, or that I just needed to empathize with people more. That I needed to understand that even though I'm in a place in my life where I'm still struggling, where I, you know, even though I look good up here, I'm still a woman who's like a part of that community that's struggling, right? A lot of people don't even know that for a majority of black and brown trans women, their annual income is $10,000. And so that says a lot about the ways in which black and brown trans women are out here surviving and living and thriving, right? And we get to sit here and, you know, have bank accounts and, you know, live comfortably, while there are a lot of people out there that have to put themselves in positions that bring violence, that bring harm, that bring addiction. And that's unfair when there are many of resources for all of us to share, for all of us to put out, for people to live like we're living. I just think it's really unfair that we even live in a society that still shames somebody, won't hire somebody, or reject somebody for their race or their gender or their sexual identity. And I just think it's ludicrous. So why I'm so excited that, you know, the Democrats, I'm not a political person at all, I wouldn't give a fuck about politics, but I do know that the political is personal, right? And that anything that happens there happens to me. And so when President Cheeto got into office, you know, I just seen this shift and how all of these people were affected by that, right? Even the people that voted for Trump, they started to realize they were getting fucked over too. So they're like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? Woe is me. But it's like, well, when things were put in place, right? And we've seen that things were already tough for, you know, trans women in this country, and non-conforming people in this country, that people really didn't care until it affected them. And so it's really crazy now to see that people are wanting that change. And like, so I'm hoping that everybody, like, be more involved in your community. Know the people who are, you know, your district attorneys and your, you know, your prosecutors and things like that, because that makes a difference, right? In the ways in which they are like targeting certain people. As a prison abolitionist, I'm always advocating for things like that. Oh, do we have abolitionists in the room? Okay. You know, it's always important to make those connections and try to figure out how we can change our communities for the people that live there, right? A lot of times I talk about things that might offend some people, but I actually don't care. So it's really important for, you know, us within our communities to start calling out shit when we see it, right? I tell a lot of my trans friends, just because a person is trans doesn't mean that they got it together. I know a lot of racist white trans folk. I know a lot of sexist gay folk. I know so many different people, and that was one of the things that was an eye-opener for me is, you know, these people who initially are marginalized. They're part of that community that one would consider marginal, but to still live within that ism that keeps us from moving forward collectively, to be on one solid ground so that we can attack these states of oppression, these systems of oppression, and in the whole overall state of oppression. It takes a lot, right? And so since I've been in, you know, actively advocating and traveling and speaking, it has really been an eye-opener for me, because then you see how you yourself need to change, right? Because other people kind of show that for you. They might say something that you once said before, or hold a value that you hold, and never realizing how it affected somebody else. And so it was really important to like be a part of something larger. And like I got to meet Angela Davis. That was probably one of the most amazing moments in my life. And so she was a part of the documentary. And there was a part in the documentary where she said that nobody will be free unless trans women are free. And that just really sat with me, especially hearing that from a cis, you know, Black woman, that it meant a lot to know that there are people out here that care, that believe people in their individualities should be able to live, and that as long as those people aren't living, none of us are. And so that's important, because again, with intersectionality, we don't think that something that affects somebody else doesn't necessarily affect us, but in the long run, it does. And I tell that to people all the time, because of the ways in which our lives are like woven together, that we should even ourselves want to empathize and understand other people, right? But we're so busy playing oppression Olympics that we don't understand, yes, right? We don't get a chance to understand what our issues are, because we all believe our individual issues is more important than the next person. So that makes you selfish, right? Because you believe that what you're going through is overall worse than what anybody else is going through. And so when we take a step back, right, this is where the interrogating your privilege comes in, right? And like I said, for a Black trans woman, I had to really sit down and really think about what that was for me, right? Because in my mind, I would think that I was one of the most marginalized people in this country, right? And that's not true, because I do have privileges. I now have a home to live in, right? I have some sustainable income. But there, like I said, before then, me and so many other Black and brown trans women who had to take part in survival economics because of society constantly rejecting us, not giving us the space or the resources to live, right? I can tell you over the course of my whole life, I've probably done like 200,000 job applications and haven't been accepted to any of those places. And it's crazy, because when I go in for an interview, I'm always like, I wonder what they're gonna reject me for this job for. Is it gonna be my race or my gender or both, right? And that's frustrating, right? Because I am a human, just like anybody else is a human. And so that means I need to sustain myself as a human, as anybody else would. And it becomes difficult and depressing. And so for a lot of trans and non-conforming people, we deal with more mental health issues. We tend to be pushed into addiction more harder, because, you know, we have to ease the pain in some way. And so I just think that when you leave this space, or even now, you know what I'm saying? Think about the ways that you have a privilege. Like, think about the ways that you are navigating in your day to day, right? And think about how you are living easier. Or consider the ways in which somebody might have something opposite or polar to what you have, right? For me, that's just saying like, I have a place to stay. What can I do for a person that doesn't have a place to stay? You know, one of the things actually that led to this is when I was incarcerated, and I promised, like, once I get out, that I want to do everything in my power to prevent people from going to prison. And if they are there, how to get them out. Now, I'm not the richest person in the world, but I try to do something to where I can bail somebody out, or if there is an issue where people are involved with the police or incarceration, I try to connect them with resources because I can't always help everybody, and sometimes shit happens in other states that I can't get to. So I try to be connected with people so that I can connect those people with other people, right? That, having that type of platform is a privilege, right? And so I make sure that I utilize that to my best ability. That I know that if somebody is affected over here, that I can make this connection for them over here. I try to feed people. I love to cook, so I'm always inviting people over to my house. You know, if you're hungry, please come through, right? I feel like sometimes we think of our spaces as personal and like, but we have to remove ourselves from that. And I think it's important that people know that vulnerability is a part of the movement. That it's okay to let parts of yourself go, so that there can be an even ground, so that people can know who you are and where you're coming from, and also so that you can know about them. And I feel like having that bond makes any movement stronger. It makes us think of each other as family and not just like cohorts. And that's important because I tell people all the time, like, I don't want to live in a society where I'm just tolerated. I don't want someone to just see me and say they're going to deal with me. I would prefer somebody to actually understand every struggle I've been through and why I am the person that I am, because that is what made me the woman that I am today, the person that I am today. I told somebody today that my gender was colorful. That's my gender for today. I tell people all the time, like, gender is fake until it was created. And so me and my friend Josh, I don't know if anybody knows Joshua Allen, like, we do things where we just like say our gender is something just really, you know, anything, because to live in a society, even for me, like, sometimes I don't always see myself as a woman, so that's why I say a person. And I think for a lot of us in this room, we feel like we have to, you know, stick to those identities or those, you know, archetypes of the identity that we hold. And so I just feel that even in this moment, like, start just letting go of some of the shit you've just been internalizing your whole life, the things that you've been taught, the things that you have been inflicted upon, all of those things, just let it go, right? Because that's also important to the movement. Like, we have to decolonize our minds around all of the things that have been taught to us so that we can know exactly who we are and the people around us, right? Because you can have an ism or a prejudgment of someone based off of the things that you've seen on TV, somebody told you, you read in a book, right? And that can be misleading. And it can also be a whole complete lie. And so it took me a minute to know what that meant for myself. Like I said earlier, there were ways that I was hella transphobic and didn't know that, because I felt that because I was a trans person that I was a transphobic. And I was talking to somebody, mind you, all of this information that has been brought to my attention was from other trans folks, so I would think that this would be okay to say or to believe, you know. And a lot of that had to do with my actual being as a woman, and like having other trans women tell me like, oh, you need to get bigger boobs, you need to get body work, you need to have bottom surgery, you need to, you know, be more woman-like. And I really didn't understand what that meant. You know what I'm saying? Like, what part of me isn't a woman? If that is who I am, if that's what I feel, I don't understand why I have to play word association. When I realized that I was pansexual, it was really weird. It was because I kissed another trans woman. And I liked it. I realized that, you know, for most of my life, people would ask really dumb shit to me. Like, well, if you're gonna transition, what's the point of sleeping with other women? And it's like, well, the benefits of it. But also, like, what does my gender have to do with my sexual identity? Like, those things are connected. I didn't know that. Wow. So what I see from other people really made me take a step back and say, damn, I used to be like that. That's how I used to be. Like, I was a fucked up individual. It's okay to have that type of self-acknowledgement. It's okay to look in the mirror and just say, I am a fucked up individual. And sometimes you need to do that to better yourself. It is okay. I'm telling you, in the long run, it will make you a better person. Seriously. And that was a part of my interrogating my privilege. It's like, how am I, you know, calling out myself? It's easy for us to call out other people, and like a lot of people have a problem with that. Calling out other people and not calling in your own self is a terrible thing, because we all in some ways think that we're doing the job the right way. We all say that we're the perfect ally, or we're advocating the best way. And the only way I found out that I was doing it wrong was because the people that I was advocating for would tell me. And so I'm like, so I wasn't doing it right at all? Not a little? And I think that was because I took it upon myself to make those decisions for these people, or decide what's best for them, or decide, you know, the type of help that they need without asking them what type of help they need. And I think that's what we need to start doing for each other. As other people, I live in that, so my boyfriend is cis and straight, I know, unfortunately. But I live with his family, which was a big step for me, because I know that it's hard for a lot of cis straight men to like have trans partners and live with the parent. And it has been a journey. Gosh, it's been a journey. But living there has been a doozy. Because majority of my friends and family, and chosen family, are trans and non-conforming people. So when I have company over, it can get real messy. And so I'm always telling my other side of the family to please ask a person's their gender. Do not assume. That will be the best way to not start an argument. Because if you misgender that person, I'm not gonna stop them. If they punch you, they punch you. That's on you. You should have asked first and then move forward with the conversation. But it's important that we do that. I tell white people all the time, I'm certain that you have at least one racist person in your family. Call that shit out. It's okay. If they don't come to, oh, they didn't like that one. If they don't come to Thanksgiving dinner, it is okay. You will move on with your life. You will be a better person. I had to call out my own damn mom about being transphobic and, you know, and anti-black. So I'm assuming that that's my mom. She pushed me out of her womb. And so I think it's important that we all start calling out the people that's closest to us. We cannot organize outside in the free world if we are still imprisoned by oppression in our own home. So if you are not like calling out the people in your own homes, in your own communities, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure some of y'all got the neighbor that's quick to call the police if they see somebody not like them in the neighborhood. It's okay to go knock on their door and say, look, maybe the best thing isn't to call the police and educate them as to why. There's a whole host of videos you can pull up on Facebook or YouTube to show them the violence that comes when you call the police on people for whatever reason. As we've been seeing, right? I think it's important that we call out these things because, that on yourself will make you look foolish. I think that if I was running around here telling people not to be transphobic, and I got a transphobic ass mama, and I didn't even try to at least educate her as to why that's not a good thing to do, I would feel like a hypocrite. I would feel like somebody that would not be worthy of a movement because I'm not even trying to reach out to the people that are closest to me. It's easy to call out the people that you don't know, or you just met, or it's just your friend. But it's always a struggle when you have to confront the things that are closest to you because these are the people that we love or cherish or, I love everybody, but I guarantee I'm gonna call your ass out if you fucking up. I'm telling you that right now. If I see you in public, if I meet you somewhere else, and you with somebody that say something really not good, I'm just gonna tell you that, I don't feel like you should be a part of a movement. I would say that to you personally because I feel like you have a little bit more work to do. I feel like you need to start gathering the people that are closest to you and just start having, Thanksgiving is coming up. That's probably the best time to start if y'all want some holiday drama. Just sit at the table, slap the turkey off the table, and transphobia now and just go on. And just, scare the shit out of everybody. To make them see why, even if these people are, into the whole political scheme that's happening now, that's a good way to talk about the ways in which trans people are affected, right? And not even just trans people, how all of us are affected. So y'all want to hear something really crazy? Ever since they had created that, they've been trying to pass that trans bathroom bill, law, or whatever. Do you know that 0 trans women have been arrested by that, and I believe 20 cis women have. So that says a lot about what's happening here, right? It's really funny because, anytime that I'm at the airport, I'm just always, that's where my anxiety kicks in. I will literally just hold my pee till I get to my hotel room. But I know that's bad for my health, I know that's bad for my bladder, so I start saying, fuck that shit, I gotta pee. And so I will always have this, this feeling of dread as soon as I get to that entranceway, and then you walk in, it's like the first day of high school, and it's like a slow 90s montage, and everybody's just looking at you, and you're walking in there, and you go sit down, and you pee. I just don't understand why that is so complicated and difficult for people to understand. I am going into the bathroom to pee. I'm not going into the bathroom to sell heroin or, open a dimension to hell, which I would like to do. To hear that news about how cis women are more affected by this bathroom bill than trans women, it's very hilarious to me because it's see bitch, that's what you get. You shouldn't have, thought you were gonna get away with that, I also talk about things white women have voted Donald Trump into office. Start talking to the white women in y'all communities and asking them, girl, what's wrong? What's going on in your world that you had to vote such a monster? Is it because of the class? Is it because of the idea of security? This whole berating people. When I see Donald Trump on TV, I just if I had the money to constantly buy TVs, I would literally just be throwing my TV off the stand every time he's on the screen because it's just every second of his presidency has been attacking people that aren't like him. right? And so it's just really disgusting. And anytime I see somebody that supports somebody like him or him, I just want to just like stuff them in a rocket. And like halfway into dissension, it just blows up. Because I don't even think people like that should inhabit other planets. They just need to be done with forever. Like, I just don't understand like how and why, you know what I'm saying? I think for a lot of people, they felt like this was gonna be like fun and like Hollywood all the time, everywhere, and it's like, well, that is Hollywood. Hollywood is full of the same things we deal with in our own communities. Classism, racism, sexism, like, have we not seen any of that from the president? I mean, I have. I mean, if you haven't seen any of that, that's the time where you step back and interrogate your privilege, because you really have something wrong with you as well. I think it's important also that we are connecting with the youth. I see some lovely babies in the room. Hello, my lovely kitties. I just think that if we do want things to change, we have to start with our kids. We have to start telling them the truth and not like giving them this like whole runaround, right? Just be upfront about gender, about sexuality. I don't understand what's so hard about that, right? And for a lot of people that I know, they are like really, when it comes to their kids, it's just like, I don't know. Me and my cousin got into an argument last week because she said she wanted to throw a gender reveal. I said, girl, that is the dumbest thing ever. Like, why are you throwing a gender reveal? Literally, like all these gender reveal videos, I'm literally over it. I'm just like, when did this gender reveal buzz just like happen? Like, has this always been happening? Or has there been an increased number of fucking gender reveals that y'all posting on Facebook? I do not care. I don't care. The crazy part is you're gonna be real stupid when your child isn't the gender you just said they were. That's the bad part of that. I just got my mom like, girl, did you know gender reveals with me? She's like, I'm like, good, because you would have been upset. Yeah, I just think it's really important that we start talking about our youth, about gender, about sexuality, and also about body autonomy. Ooh, y'all like that one, huh? Me and my friend was having this conversation about, you know, because I wanted to get into the educational field, but I can't. But, you know, I still talk about like the ways in which I see the issues within the educational field. And it starts with like preschool, kindergarten, right? A lot of the teachers kind of inexplicably tell children that it's okay for you to hug that person, for you to hold their hand, for, you know what I'm saying? And not really saying or giving them an option, right? So a lot of young men, you know, in the early stages of their lives, believe that it's okay to invade people's spaces because it's something that was taught very early on in life. And a lot of times, though, that can translate to something worse over time, right? We're never really told that if we do not want to be touched, that's an option. And I'm sure in preschool or kindergarten, people are like, oh, they're just kids. But then that's where we fuck up at, because they're not just kids. They are learning, right? These are the times where they are learning and they're soaking it up and they're like, okay, so it's okay to hug, it's okay to touch, right? But there's never a point in time where we're telling them it's okay to hug and touch if that other person says it's okay. And so I think that is something that needs to be started now, because when we see gosh, I wish I had a time machine. If we see the whole existence of rape culture now in our society, that it tends to lead something. I tell people all the time, a person isn't just naturally a rapist. A person isn't just naturally transphobic. A person isn't just naturally racist. Those are things that are taught to them. And so it's important that we connect with the youth and that we aren't like bullshitting them and like, you know, leaving them on the same path that we were on. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if I do have children in the future, that I would want to lay a pretty smooth pavement for them so that they know, like, you know, you have to respect people's spaces, you have to respect people's identities, you have to respect, you know, people regardless, except for if they're nasty. Then you don't have to. No. Nasty means a lot of things, not sexually. But I just feel that, you know, with everything that's happening, that we really start taking things serious. Now is the time to really be active because we can actually start seeing change. Hopefully Donald Trump will be out of office very soon. Yes, I'm so excited. I don't watch the news channel. I'd rather watch Cartoon Network. So anytime I'm on MSNBC, I'm just like I'm watching a soap opera. It's just so intense, it's so funny. I'm like crying, I'm shivering, any emotion you can think of because it's just crazy that we even live in a world that's just like a goddamn TV show. And so, hopefully Donald Trump will be out of office soon. I'm sorry for any of you Trump supporters in here, but he gotta go. He got to go. That we are now going to see a different type of change, and like hopefully it's a change for the better because we were doing good and then it just went to shit. It did. And like, yes, right? It just was not right no more. And so all of the stuff, him attacking trans people the way he has over the last course of the 3 years he's been in office has been despicable. And then for trans people to still be supporting him is hilarious to me. But then Caitlyn Jenner finally comes down and says, oh, I thought he was going to support trans people. How, girl? That was the same thing you did with goddamn Ted Cruz. You ain't learned the first time? Like, girl, come on, like, let's get it together. And that is a person that has one of the utmost privileges. As a white trans woman with wealth, with platform, she could be doing something so much better. But guess what? Karma is a bitch. That's why her show got canceled. She shouldn't be that. She shouldn't be that. I'm just saying. No. Caitlyn, I'm looking right at the camera. I don't know if you're going to see this, girl. But get it together. Reserve time for Q&A. Huh? 10 minutes? Well, I don't want to spend that time really bombarding y'all with more stuff. But I will say this. I really want us to start taking what we are calling reality serious. I want us to really think about the ways we want to bring change for the better, for other people. Regardless of your race, your gender, your sexuality, your class status, whatever, we all can make a change. We all can make a difference, right? Even if you can talk to somebody for a second, like people don't understand, even just reaching out to somebody and asking them how their day was or how are you feeling or do you need something to eat? You know what I'm saying? Don't just do that for the people you bring in to speak at your schools. Do that for everybody that you know. Even if you don't like it, do it because it will make you feel better and it will make that person feel better and it will make your community feel better because now there is a different type of support, right? I hate the term ally because allies feel like they deserve the world after they bring scones to the meeting. No, that's not how our allyship works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And it's especially offensive to feel like you deserve that gratitude when the people who are doing the work are the people who are affected by it. I don't do the work because I want a pat on the back. I don't do it because I want the glitz and the glamour. I do it because at the end of the day, I'm a black trans woman that are affected by these issues. And so if you aren't a person that's affected by the issue, then be grateful that those people are allowing you to be a part of their movement, because we don't need you there. We want you there because we are stronger in numbers. And so I think it's really time that we think about that, right? That we take a step back. I tell people, you know what, instead of calling yourself an ally, just say you're operating in solidarity. That looks totally different, right? Operating in solidarity means that you're active, right? That's the first word, operating. That means you gotta be doing something for it to work. And so you have to, right, exactly. You have to actively be in your communities, actively be in your home, actively be in your schools, your church, wherever, you know, synagogue, your mosque. Where do Mormons go? They go to church? A temple, oh, okay. But yeah, just like those spaces, right? Those spaces that we normally wouldn't bring this information, start bringing it, right? I feel like a lot of people are afraid of confrontation. A lot of people are really, really like apprehensive when it comes to like calling people out because of the ways that they might be affected. So if you hear your boss being racist or sexist or transphobic or queerphobic or homophobic, it's gonna be harder to be like, hey. You're gonna be like, okay, he's writing my check, so how exactly am I gonna go about this? And even if it's brought to their attention, the chances of a promotion are, you know what I'm saying, is just like down the toilet. Unless that person is a person who is willing to open their minds and like listening to the advice and the criticism that you give them. But I think that when it comes to that, it never comes to that, because we live in a society that would rather fire you and replace you than to listen to the employee and to make the changes, because it's easiest for them. And so we need to figure out different ways in which we are attacking these systems that we are, like I said, you know, do anybody here know who their district attorney is? Okay, so he's a good guy? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to be involved and know who these people are. Our governors, our mayors, our city council people, who runs the library on 99th Street, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, get to know these people, because this is your community. This isn't just a place you're living. Even if you decide to relocate tomorrow, it doesn't matter. Get to know those people over there. We have to start building community. We have to start thinking about how we want to attack these systems so that we can bring a change, a real change for people everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Not even just here. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere. It starts with us. It starts within us. So you have to first interrogate yourself before you interrogate somebody else. Once you start interrogating somebody else, make sure it's the people that's closest to you. We cannot keep allowing people to be in our spaces and be toxic. So if that's your mom, if that's your dad, I don't give a damn if it's your cat. You better bring it to their attention. For Kitty, you're gonna have to bring some catnip, you know what I'm saying? You gotta bring them in, and then you have to start telling them the truth. Hey mom, you know, for the last 100 years you've been racist. I've been dealing with it, but now it's time to call it out. If your mom's 100, that's okay. I said 100, but sure. You know, like, we really need to start thinking about how we are bringing the information. It doesn't always have to be the way that we think. It doesn't have to always be like us yelling in the streets and, you know, us risking, other people risking their lives, when there are subtle ways we can do. Do anybody know about Whole Foods divesting in private prison operations? Exactly. A lot of people don't know that your local grocery stores, your local, you know, anything could be investing in systems that hurt other people. So how are we calling those systems out? Nobody would ever know that Whole Foods invested into prison systems if there wasn't for people who were like involved and deep in that and calling them out. And so once they called them out, everybody else called them out. Hey, Whole Foods, I love your chicken, stop divesting to prisons, or I'm not gonna eat your chicken no more. Simple. They was like, you gonna take, you're not gonna buy nothing from me anymore? Okay, look, this is what, look. Because in the long run, the money that you use, that you put into these systems, eventually go into something that might be harming somebody else in the long run. I tell people all the time, like, check your universities, check your colleges. I guarantee you one of these schools here is investing in your local prison or police department or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's up to you to decide how you want to move forward. It's up to you to decide how innovative you want to be in your organizing and your movement work. Like, that's up to you, but I think it's time that we really need to start thinking about that. And that we start, you know, moving away from ourselves and thinking about the larger picture. And that larger picture is, how can we create a world that is going to be the best one ever? I think that was it, but I really, again, want to thank y'all for coming, for listening to me rant, and like try some comedic bits, you know. I really want to thank the organizers again, because I love doing this work, and like I said, this is the way that I get to connect with people. This is the way that I get to bring even my isms to the front field and talk about the things that affected me and affect the people that I love. I hope that y'all can take this information. When you leave this room, don't just be like, oh yeah, I see CeCe McDonald, oh, she was wonderful, and then you're talking to the racist mom I was just talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, really just think about the ways that you want to make this world better. Because it starts with you. It starts with us, you know what I'm saying? And we, I don't care if it's just 1 or 1 million of us, we can make a change. But we have to want that. And that means letting go from the stuff we don't want, we want, which can be hard sometimes, but we have to. We have to start calling out these corporations. We have to start calling out these universities. We have to start calling out our local people in our communities. It don't matter. As long as you're bringing it to the front field, as long as you really care about the people of this nation like I care. It's not even our damn land. And it's like, come on, y'all, we're living on stolen land that I'm sure is cursed. Oh no, it's cursed. I'm telling y'all that. And wait, and this is Utah. Ain't the Skinwalker Ranch here? It's cursed, baby. I'm telling y'all, this land is cursed. Every part of the United States is cursed. So be ready. Get ready, y'all. But, you know, all jokes aside, but I just feel like we live in a world that has been plagued constantly. And like, I'm just ready for there to be actual changes and like connecting with people. Any place that I go, I give people my personal number, I tell people my social media, because I'm a human just like y'all. I don't see any type of hierarchy. I'm a human just like y'all. Just because I'm standing up here, I don't see myself as being better or greater than any of y'all. We all are part of this movement. We all benefit from moving together. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want y'all to think about that. Think about the ways that you want to step back and be a part of the movement and stop thinking that you are the movement. We have to do this together. You know what I'm saying? So again, thank y'all. I love y'all so much.